Hello everyone and welcome back to the Belgian Beer Brothers channel. Cedric here in Antwerp, and it's Monday, so that means another brew review. Now we've already had, I believe, 4 beers by Badúm in Peñíscola in Spain, and well, I'm almost out. I think I have 6 of them, so this is the second to last. And I was feeling like having a nice stout, and I've had someone tell me that this is a nice, accessible, creamy stout. So, yeah, let's dive right in. This is a 6% black beer, of course, made with a bunch of roasted malts. And you guys might see that I don't have my trusted tasting glasses here. I am about to commit blasphemy. I am going to use another brand glass. That's the second time, I believe, in almost 200 videos. But just for comparative sake, I thought I'd use this classic Guinness Stout glass. Now, I just want to draw attention to this t-shirt, because this is a old t-shirt from my time in Peñíscola when I met this awesome guy. I believe he was called Wolf. He used to tend the bar in Benidorm, and then he moved to Benicarlo, Benicassim, Peñíscola, and he opened the hot rod bars over there. A lot of live music, a lot of rock music, and a lot of great beers. Nonetheless, let's have a taste. I like how they made this a simple label again, although I must admit that I did like their previous logo and label. I'll put it up here if I find it somewhere. I believe it was a beige logo with a flower. The stout flower was the brewery logo as well. And I did find another picture of a bottle of this stout, but I'm not quite sure about that either. So again, I'll put it up there. I like this. I like the geometric forms. I love the simplicity of it. I love how the bottle cap matches the label. I've always been a sucker for details. And although I couldn't find any info on this, I think that the dragon on this logo might be a slight nod to the Irish folk tales and the Irish myths. That's nice and active. Ooh. Well, let's say that it is quite carbonated. Ooh. Slight change of plans. Let's turn this into a physics lesson. This is a heavily carbonated beer. Now, I do believe we can assess now that this is not put on nitrogen, just like Guinness, but this is a carbonated beer. Probably re-fermented in the bottles a slight bit. And although this is a 6%er, oftentimes the low alcoholic beers don't re-ferment in the bottle. Sometimes they do. Now, if you add a bit too much sugar, for example, you do get a lot of ethanol, you do get a lot of esters, you do get a lot of CO2, carbon dioxide, and that builds up a lot of pressure. Now, a bottle can hold a lot of pressure, and depending on the form of the bottle, a bottle can hold a lot more pressure. Let's think of the champagne bottles, for example. But you can see that this is still quite lively. What happens here is you have actually a lot of carbon dioxide which is immersed in the fluid of the beer, and by opening the bottle you put this on atmospheric pressure, so suddenly the pressure drops, the carbon dioxide expands, and it wants out. Unfortunately, we have a quite narrow tube here, and this is Bernoulli's law. This is the same law that a pressure washer is based on, actually. If you want to put a certain amount of fluid or gas or whatever through a narrower tube, the pressure rises again. So it comes out rather quickly. And that's the gushing that we see. Now, what can we do about that? Well, lower the pressure or enlarge the surface area. Basically, we do the same. We do these two things by pouring it into a glass. Unfortunately, for my tablecloth, my glass is only so large and I can't pour quickly enough. So we needed a larger glass. Nonetheless, not much has happened, lost a few drops. But let's continue, let's try and taste this beer. Now, a downside of this gushing or this sudden pressure, well, depressurization, is that if there was any yeast left in your beer, it's all in the beer right now. Anywho, that's quite dense. I wouldn't call this black. I would call this actually brown, quite murky. I still see a lot of carbon dioxide moving there. So this is, I know this is gonna sound negative, but I don't mean it negative. This is actually a nice brown color, quite murky. I would call it muddy even. And some brownish beige foam. The foam isn't that dense, we get a lot of large bubbles. Nonetheless, it does stay on quite long, which is nice. And as you can see, there's nothing opaque about this beer. No light going through whatsoever. So it is rather dense. Now, when it comes to smell, it is very metallic. I do get a lot of iron, a lot of, I want to say rust, but rust makes us think of oxidation, and it doesn't smell oxidized, it just smells metallic. Now, what does that mean? Yeah, iron all the way. Basically, some people think that this is a show of bad brewing, but I think we've already established in the previous videos that there's no bad brewing at Badúm, and these guys know what they're doing. This is not a brewing fault or a brewing mistake. This is in fact a sign that there's a lot of iron in the water in Peñíscola. And certain styles bring that out more. For example, a stout or a dark beer. Now, why do I do this? A small side fact. Basically because the foam gets a chance to evaporate and the minerals stay on your skin, and you have let's say a blank canvas to smell on. So I actually eliminate the aromas from the beer and I strengthen that iron smell. Actually, this tasting is really turning into a physics / beer tasting lesson. Now, apart from that slight metallic scent, which to me is actually not disturbing, I do get a lot of licorice in here. I like licorice. And some form of sweetness that I can't put my finger on. A tiny hint of coffee, but like a latte, macchiato, like a very creamy, soft, not strong coffee. A bit of chocolate, so very classic, all very classic. So I do think that they used a very nice grain bill. But let's taste. Actually tastes more or less like expected, but I do get that metallic flavor as well. And I don't mind the metallic smell. The metallic flavor is not that great. Not necessarily bad either. It's not dominant, but okay. Apart from the metallic taste, which is actually quite dominant here, um, I do get a lot of roasty flavors. I do get that milky coffee flavor. So they did one hell of a job making a great creamy stout. I think that they may have added lactose. I'm not sure. But it does get that creamy mouthfeel and a lovely soft taste. I do get tiny hints of chocolate, but very, very distant, and mainly a lot of licorice. So again, a nice grain bill. But I am not gonna drink this beer. Um, However much I like a beer like this, um, a metallic smell is okay. A metallic flavor is a red flag. And it hurts me to say this about Badúm because by now I did become a fan and I still am. Um, I am gonna discard this beer. I'm not gonna discard the Badúm Stout. Why? Um, because this might be an honest mistake. Um, Metallic flavors and metallic smells come from iron ions in the raw materials. Now, I did mention the water, the brewing water. That is most of the time the largest, the biggest reason for metallic scents. Now that I get the metallic flavor as well, I do think that they might have had a batch of malts uh, in which the iron ions were many. Normally in malts you get like I'm not sure about this. I don't know from the top of my head, but between 5 and 9 milligrams of iron per kilo. Um, so we're talking parts per billion here, the ppb for anyone that knows any chemistry here. So it's not ppm, it's even ppb. That's 1,000 times smaller than ppm. Um, and actually, an excess amount of iron ions in combination with alcohol is not that good for blood and liver. So I'm not gonna drink this one, but nonetheless, yeah, this might have been a bad batch of malt. Now, during mashing, you actually bring out that iron, and that iron is, I'd say, necessary for fermentation in small amounts. If you have too much iron, your beer gets prone to oxidization as well. And that is also one of the possible reasons to get a gushing beer. So, yeah. Unfortunately, I'm gonna throw this away. But I am actually eager to try another one from a more recent batch, probably with better malts. So I'm not gonna blame this on the brewery. I'm gonna blame this on a nasty coincidence. Unfortunately, that means that there is no real brew review today. So I will see you guys again tomorrow for a brewery breakdown or Wednesday for another brew review. So, yeah. Oh, I'm sad. I wanted a stout. Nonetheless, cheers, you guys. See you in the next one.